So, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I would like to say to you, listening to this, you matter. You are here for a purpose. You are destined for great things. And while I'm saying that, I would like to share about, in fact, it's a continuation of my traveling experiences. I regard myself as a traveler in my own right. So, in the last video, I talked about traveling to China and the things you need to note or take care of or notice when you travel to China. Now I'm going to talk about Scotland and the things you need to note or notice when you travel to Scotland. I traveled to Scotland for the first time in 2018. I took a flight from East London, being the Eastern Cape rural woman, to Johannesburg. From Johannesburg, I traveled with Emirates to Dubai. Then I changed in Dubai. I always transit in Dubai. You choose, when you go to these countries, it's either you transit in Germany or you transit in Qatar, depending which flight are you using, or you transit in I say Dubai, Qatar, or Germany. So I transited in Dubai. I like to transit in Dubai, and the next video will be recorded when I'm transiting on Dubai. I'll be traveling soon, and I'll upload a video of me transiting in Dubai. So then I arrived in Edinburgh. I was excited. Edinburgh is the city of my choice. In fact, when I thought I'm going to the UK, I thought I would be staying in Edinburgh because I was planning to go to Edinburgh University, but I ended up in Dundee University for one reason or another. Anyway, so I arrived in Edinburgh, took pictures, was excited. It's one of the places that I like. One of the things I would like to mention is that I ended up working in Edinburgh part-time, even though I had to travel from Dundee to Edinburgh. I think it was a 1 hour train that I took to travel. Back to my experiences from Edinburgh, I took a bus. There is a plane that goes to Dundee and a very small airport, but I took a bus from Edinburgh airport to Dundee. Then when I arrived in Dundee, being so unfamiliar with the place, with the area, I was lost. The bus just dropped me off and I just didn't know where to go, what to do. But my first experience of the people of Scotland, because even Edinburgh is in Scotland, it was that they were helpful because I didn't know where I would get off. I only told them that I'm going to the university, but I was gonna stay in a bed and breakfast until I sort myself. So from Edinburgh, people were helpful. I'm having this big luggage from South Africa to another country. People were helpful, people were caring, people would help me with my bags. And even when I arrived in Dundee, people were helpful, showing me where to find a meter taxi. That was the first experience for me of the people of Scotland, that they were caring. They would show you directions, they would explain to you directions. In fact, even the university staff informed me while I was in South Africa that I must inform them when I'm arriving so that they fetch me at the airport. I don't know why I didn't do that. I think I should have done it, but again, it was an act of caring. Um, Arriving there, I got a meter taxi to the BNB where I would sleep. People were again polite and helpful there, which I liked. So the first impression that I had of Scottish people was that they were very, very helpful. They were very kind to strangers. Um, I cannot say they were racist, uh, even though when I was part of the university, I experienced some form of prejudice. I think it happens, even though people would say we are democratic, we don't have prejudice, we treat everybody equally. Sometimes you see those traits in them, but it's few individuals, not many people who are like that. I think the next day Tron arrived, and then he needed to move us and we go and stay somewhere else. And then we went to stay somewhere else. You must remember Tron is Norwegian, so he did not stay in Scotland. He lived in Norway, but he was close by so that he could visit me. So he came and we moved to somewhere else. Well, I did notice some stares because people would stare just because we were an interracial couple. But it was not bad stares because we were not the first one. But I did notice that in the hotel where he moved me to. I can't remember if I moved myself first to the hotel before he came because I needed to check out early. I think I moved myself and explained to them that my spouse was coming, so I needed to move my things there. I think they took them. Can't remember the details until he came, and then we moved. Arriving in university, because I was a student doing my master's in social work, everybody was helpful. That is very good with Scottish people. Everybody gives you information. Everybody, they even have a map of the university. I've been to various universities, but I never saw that kind of courtesy where people would even write you directions inside the university. So everybody was helpful. You go to the library, you want to know anything, and people are helpful. Even in the library, I met my best friend, Ian, who was a wonderful man. In fact, how I met him was it was very cold in the evening and I was waiting for a bus. Then I'm clumsy, I'm not even looking like a lady. I think he also looked like a hobo. And then he's standing behind me in the shop. We're about to pay. As we are about to pay in the shop for groceries, and I keep on dropping things. He goes down and he picks them up. I keep on dropping things. I was frustrated, I was clumsy, but I was occupied by so many things that I keep on dropping things. Then he picks them up. So I had a soft spot for him, not knowing that he works for the university that I'm new to. And then up until one day, I made an appointment at the university to see a librarian who could assist me with the work because I was new. Boom, it was him. It was him who was going to help me, which was nice. You know, we're still best of best friends because of that good impression. Another impression was that now, as I move from place to place looking for places of work, looking for going to interviews, I would be lost. You know, Scottish people would go out of their way to show you directions. I remember this man, when I was looking for directions, he stopped going where he was going and he walked with me to the place where I was supposed to be. That is absolute kindness. I'm not going to lie and say there are not those people who are mean, because sometimes you find that little prejudice, but um, it was overpowered by the kindness of the people, by the willingness of the people to help. I always felt safe. I would travel from 12 midnight or after 12 midnight from university to where I lived, and I always felt safe. I never felt unsafe. One day I fell because the shoes I was wearing were not compatible with the snow. It was snowing. And immediately when I screamed because I was afraid of falling, everybody came running to help me. Those are Scottish people, and how wonderful they are. Um, I also noticed that on Christmas, Scottish people have this culture of going to the graves, and they would put Christmas lights in the graves. For me, it was for the first time that I see that people would put Christmas lights in the grave. I was fascinated. Remember, I'm a researcher. I'm always eager to get information. So I was fascinated. I remember I took photos and I was ready to tell everybody of what I saw. People would visit the graves. I don't know what they do because I didn't come close, but I saw that the graves were having flowers. The graves were decorated with Christmas trees, like people decorate their houses. Yeah, and Scottish people like to go jogging. I would meet them in the park when I go jogging. So they look after their bodies, they take care of themselves. In general, Scotland is safe, people are safe, people are accommodating to strangers. One day I dropped a hat. I was coming out of a shop, then my hat dropped. So this elderly man picked it up for me, and he was so kind in picking it up for me and giving it to me. And for me, that is something strange, because I'm coming from South Africa, where white people think they are superior to African people because of the apartheid system, which make people look into the skin color and decide that they have the right to have prejudice and decide that they have a right to discriminate against other people. Even during the graduation, when we were graduating, I was so impressed by the way they do graduation. In fact, I love graduations. As a person, I love graduations. I better go and finish that PhD so that I attend all graduations and be an academic. It's just coming into my mind because I love to, when I hear the songs in South Africa, it's Gaudia Musicatus. Then in other countries, it's something else. As per country, in Egypt, it's something else. In Scotland, it's something else. And some of my Scottish friends believed that when a butterfly came in the hall, it was our departed souls, our guardian angels were there. In terms of the butterfly that was there, it's one of the what do I call them? Belief system that they have. They are so kind. My Scottish friends were so wonderful. I remember after I lost my mother, and when I came back from the airport in Edinburgh, my friend Helen drove all the way to pick me up. And that time I was defeated, I was hopeless, I was tired emotionally, I was tired physically, I was everything that can be negative. But by seeing her there, it just made up my mind. It just made my day. And soon after that, I don't know, did I arrive on a Friday? I don't know when did I arrive, but on a weekend that day, all my friends gathered and we had a dinner together, and it was nice. And everybody noticed how thin I was in just that period of time. And yeah, that's my opinion. Other people might have different opinions. In Scotland, you'd see a lot of Chinese people. most of Chinese students. I think the Scottish universities have a relationship with Scotland. You'd see few Africans, at least you see them, and then you'd see mostly white people who are not only from Scotland but from other countries. Yeah, there are a lot of restaurants, and some restaurants you just pay one amount and then you eat everything. So I used to take people to that restaurant where you pay one amount and you eat everything. Then we would eat and 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 eat, which was nice. There is meat in Scotland. There is the food that we know in Scotland, in Scottish shops. There are vegetables. There is fruit. So life is normal. It snows, and sometimes um, even though it's late at night, 10 o'clock p.m., 11 o'clock, 12, 1, 2, it can be like day night daylight. For me it is the for me it is the mystery of the earth we live in, because I would call home and say it is at night here, but um it's like in the daylight, that also happened in Scotland. But in general, I made friends. I made close friends, and yeah. Um, okay, there were negatives, but as I said, they were based on those few people who are prejudiced and who are not welcoming strangers from other countries into their countries, who are afraid of bringing um, strangers into their country, you know. Yeah, thank you so much. Other people might have different opinions. Even in terms of getting a visa, it was easy for me, and traveling to there, it was easy. And I had the best of my life there. Thank you. Soon I will share about my experiences in Egypt. I've shared about China. I've shared today about Scotland. I would share about Egypt. I would share about America. And then soon I would share about England. Goodbye.